Hello, family, and welcome again to 2026, and welcome back to My Main Stitches. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about the importance of making a muslin or a sample piece when you're about to sew that lovely blouse on the pattern that you think will look really beautiful out of that beautiful fabric, right? But you want to make sure that you don't have a lot of mistakes in your final piece. So it's smart to take what we call in the industry a muslin or a sample fabric and make that pattern first. Even though this pattern seems relatively simple, there are going to be some things that I have to adjust because right now these patterns, well, I'll say this pattern in particular, they are so built around that hourglass figure that I just don't seem to fit these days. So I'm working at about 2 inches more on the bust measurement. So I'm gonna need to make some adjustments for that. Not so much on the waistline for this pattern because it's such a loose fit and we want that. But that's something that I'm gonna be mindful of as I make my muslin out of this black sheet, which all things being told, the muslin or sample piece might turn out to be just as cute as the final piece. Well, less so because of that sheen and that flower print. But this could still be a wearable top, but I'll decide later. But again, the muslin is just so you can make those adjustments that you don't anticipate until you've made a pattern once. And then when you're working with your nice fabric, it'll be that much nicer with fewer mistakes. I won't say mistake free, but that's always a goal. So yeah, that's what I'm up to as we start this first quarter of projects. Always know that for these, I'm going to start out with a muslin on each one. And for me personally, I don't know about you, but 2026 is gearing up to be a I'm very optimistic about this year. Already last fall, I had started to lose in the background very slowly, 1 pound at a time with intermittent fasting and changes to my diet, eating more plant-based, and those kinds of things weren't just to fit into the shape of some pattern, but really to manage hot flashes and menopausal symptoms. So yeah, that's what we're dealing with right now. But also there are just benefits across the board health-wise of those kinds of things. So, and also I'll get to fit in my clothes a little better, have a little more confidence in my look, and it's a journey. I'm reminding myself now to just enjoy the journey. And I am. So that's what we're up to. First things first, after we've taken the measurements, is taking the pattern and cutting the pieces out for the pattern that we are going, for the piece that we're going to make. And it's always good, last tip of the day, to have a pair of scissors that, you know, move easy. I'm using light gingers for this, light now because I had to adjust the screw and make the oil them, but it's nice to have just even some of the lighter weight plastic singers for cutting out your pattern pieces because they are just so thin. It's just tissue paper, and you want to use something that's really comfortable on your hand and easy to cut with so you're not running the risk of ripping your tissue paper. So that's it for today, but stay tuned and we'll get this thing done together. See you next time.